Ms. Nancy, hello and welcome to الْمسلم.
Thank you.
My first question may be, how did you find Islam?
When I first joined the State Department, my first post was Islamabad, Pakistan. And I met my future husband there, and we decided that we wanted to get to know each other better, and he asked me to study the religion. He had a good friend whose wife was very interested, or she was very knowledgeable in Islam. And so she would answer my questions. She taught me the prayers. She taught me how the alphabet to read. So she guided me slowly.
And then when you came back to the United States, did you find it a tough decision to become a Muslim in the States?
At the time, it was right after 9/11. And in some ways, it was difficult because it was a very emotional time at that point. But America is a very open country, and there's lots of cultural diversity, people coming from many different backgrounds. And I think that in some ways, different religions, different ethnic groups is celebrated in the US. So that was easy. My family was very, they had questions, but they were very embracing.
Did they criticize your decision?
No, not at all, not at all. In fact, I was telling them that I was dating him and that I was studying. And when I finally converted and I told my sister, my sisters, they weren't surprised. They were.
How about you, Ms. Nancy, like about your personality? Did it change after converting into Islam?
In some ways, I think yes. I think I have a great deal more patience now and more calmness, because I feel that, alhamdulillah, I know that everything will be fine in the afterlife. So I think it gives you a sense of peace.
Like, that's great. Like, when you go back to the States or here, or talking about Muslims in general, how responsible they are to face something called Islamophobia in the world?
I think in the US, people tend to be very open and interested, though. Because I wear the hijab, I get many questions about Islam, or what does this mean? But I find that people have been very kind and in fact, appreciative of it. In fact, I was once on a military base, and I was in the cafeteria, and someone came up to me, a man in uniform, and he said, I really appreciate your being a Muslim. And I thought that was wonderful.
So like in general, how, like Americans, how do they see the spread of Islam and the increase of the number of Muslims there in the States?
I think the only thing that worries most Americans is if it will affect them. And I think because Americans just, they enjoy the diversity, they enjoy the cultural differences, and they want everyone to be appreciated. They don't want one group to be dominant. But I think that they want to embrace Americans, I think, tend to be they want people to be somewhat conservative and somewhat believing. They don't mind if you're Jewish or Christian or Muslim, but they like to have people who believe.
But in general, we sometimes hear that Islam is linked to something called extremism. My question here may be, how can Muslims like you and others converted into Islam change this vision and make those look into this religion differently and maybe correctly?
I think the way is to basically, be open about it. One reason for wearing the hijab is to show people that, yes, I'm a Muslim, and so people then feel like they can come to me and ask questions, and they can ask questions like that. Is it extremist? Is it whatever? And then I can say, no, it's many of the beliefs are the same as the Christian beliefs.
Did you find difficulties in doing that?
No, no. I think that people honestly want to know. They don't want to believe what the media tells them, and they want to know for themselves what's the real and what's not. And when they find out that it's normal people become Muslims, then they're more open. And even among Muslims, I find that they have questions, because I've been in many Muslim countries, and the way that people practice varies from one country to another.
How do you practice your religion, while working? I'm talking about praying.
Right. I'm lucky. I have a separate office that I can close the doors. But many of the offices I've been in, if it's open, it depends on the post. When I was in Yemen and when I was in Pakistan, we had a separate area for prayers.
In the United States?
In the United States, there's usually a separate area that's for praying. Whether you're a Christian or a Muslim or whatever, there's a kind of they call it chapel area.
How about Ramadan? Like, how do you live this experience of fasting?
If I can, sometimes in Ramadan it's been difficult, but just for finding a place to open the fast. Not as far as fasting, that's easy, alhamdulillah, but as far as trying to find places where you can open the fast, that's easy. If I can, like for example, this year we hope, inshallah, to be in Algeria for all of Ramadan. But in the past, sometimes we've had to travel during Ramadan, and we prefer not to.
Okay, so Ms. Nancy, do you have something to say to Muslims in general, Muslims in the world, in the United States, in Algeria? Some message maybe you want to say before you leave us?
Just to try to understand each other, and to understand and accept each other for the differences, and to be kind to each other.
This is Islam.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.